Just because someone knew the old version of you, it doesn't mean they have access to the healed version of you. And this is a very hard lesson to learn once you've started healing, you've started growing, because you're coming from a place of always being available, always being open, always being accessible. And when growth happens, your boundaries actually get more developed before your confidence does. When you start changing, guilt often shows up first. And the reason why, it's because you stop responding as much as you used to. You start to show up less. You start to detach yourself from the things your old self normally does. And when you start doing it, you kind of get the sense in your mind that, you're becoming difficult, or you're becoming a detached person, or maybe you're being a horrible friend or a horrible, family member. But when growth happens, you normally start to see the things that align with you and the things that doesn't. And you start to slowly separate yourself from the things that doesn't. And it doesn't mean you're a horrible person. It means you're starting to respect yourself. You're starting to set your boundaries. And a lot of the times, this is going to make people uncomfortable because they're used to the old version of you, the old version that wouldn't think about themselves before they make a decision, or the version that's always people pleasing. And that makes people uncomfortable. Unfortunately, many women were taught that accessibility meant goodness. And once you start growing, you start healing, and you start to evolve in that new version of yourself, you want to justify your changes or your evolution. So you try to soften it, or you try to explain why you're doing different things. But the reality of it is, you shouldn't have to explain yourself, and it's okay for you to take the space away from the things that you used to do, because growth needs that space. And the people that get offended and the people that question what you're doing, the only reason they feel that way, it's because they benefited from your vulnerability, and now you're not giving them that access anymore. Another thing you have to understand and remember is that privacy isn't secrecy. So in this phase where you're leaving the old version of you behind and you're stepping into this new version, you're breaking patterns, you're breaking that old version of yourself, and you're putting yourself back together into a completely new version. And in this vulnerable state, keeping that in private is so important, because it keeps you from getting the outside, votes or negativity from different people, because they don't deserve a vote in, the new version of you. They don't deserve a vote on your growth process. This is where you build your discernment, you build your confidence, you build your trust in yourself again. And you need to do that in private in order to hear it, in order to connect with yourself. So understand that privacy isn't selfish. It's actually responsible and necessary when you go through your phase of growth and healing. Understand that some people don't miss you. They miss the old version of you that tolerated more. So the version of you that would stay quiet, the version of you that would overgive, the version of you that would tolerate a lot more. And once this old version of you disappears, the discomfort inevitably follows. And the reason why, it's because they are not comfortable with the version of you that you're becoming, because you're not tolerating those things anymore. And it's not that you're a bad person or you're being difficult. It's because the dynamic of the relationship has changed. And when any sort of change happens, there's always discomfort. But understand, you're not in the wrong. You're not being difficult. You're respecting yourself and your boundaries. And you have to stick through that phase. You don't owe anyone any updates. You don't owe anyone any closure conversations. You don't owe anyone any sort of explanation for becoming the new version of you. The people who are meant to be in that growth or in your life, they will adjust, they will still be there. And the people who are not meant to be in your life or question what's going on or uncomfortable with your change, they will remember you for who you were and be stuck in that place with that old version of you. But you have to be comfortable and understand that both those outcomes are okay. Growth doesn't require an audience. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is evolve quietly. And remember, if you're a woman evolving and growing, intentionally and quietly, subscribe, because this channel is for women in their 30s who are starting over, changing and evolving into that new version of themselves. But again, ladies, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.